Part 2 of Billy and Ava, The Two Sides of Power. If you missed the first one, go back and watch it. They walked in silence for a moment, but it wasn't empty silence. The city no longer felt like a place full of problems, it felt like a place that could be set right. And both of them knew that what they were doing together mattered. When they left the boulevard, the noise stayed behind them and was replaced by a quieter neighbourhood. Here people knew each other, greeted one another from a distance, and stopped to exchange a few words. Ava slowed her pace and looked around. "It's different here." "Yes," Billy replied. "More personal." In front of a small bookstore, the owner was bent over a crate of books. Its lid had collapsed, and the volumes were tilting dangerously. "Just what I needed," the man sighed. Ava stepped closer. "Where do you want them to be?" "Right there by the wall, if possible." Billy stood to the side. The crate straightened, the books aligned, their covers standing neatly like a display. The man ran his hand over them. "It's nice when things find their place." They continued down the street when lively voices came from a nearby yard. Several children were trying to carry a large cardboard box through a narrow gate. "It won't fit! Turn it! It's going to tear!" Ava stopped and looked at them. "First show where you want it to go." The children pointed. Billy gently lifted the box. Ava guided it, and it slid through the gate without scraping anything. "Hey, that was easy!" one of the kids shouted. Billy smiled, and Ava added, "When you know where you're going, everything becomes clearer." As they walked on, Billy turned to her. "Did you notice?" "What?" "People don't seem as surprised anymore." Ava nodded. "They're getting used to it, and that's a good thing." A little farther on, they saw a small bridge over a canal. Its railing was loose and wobbled at the slightest touch. Two neighbours were discussing what to do. "We need to secure it, but how?" Billy and Ava took positions on either side. The railing aligned and became steady. One of the men looked at them. "It's good that you're around." As they moved away, Billy felt something new. Not tension, confidence. They were no longer random helpers. They were a team. Farther on, the neighbourhood opened into a small square with trees and low buildings. Everything looked calm, but Ava's attention fixed on a spot where people were standing too close together, talking all at once. "There," she said quietly. "What's there?" Billy asked. "Something's wrong." In the centre of the square, an old wooden stage was tilted. A group of children with musical instruments stood nearby, along with an older man holding a folder. "We're rehearsing for the festival, but the stage keeps shifting. If we step on it, it'll tilt even more." Billy stepped forward. "Where do you want it to be?" "Right here in the middle, flat," the man replied. Ava positioned herself opposite him and studied the boards. "It'll work. Just tell me when." "Now," Billy said. The boards settled, the edges aligned, and the stage became stable. The children climbed up and began testing their instruments. "Hey, this is totally different," one of them shouted. "We can play now," another added. The man with the folder looked at them carefully. "You two work well together." "We know," Ava said with a smile. When they left the square, the music followed them for a while, then faded. Billy walked in silence before speaking. "When we're together, people feel safer," Ava nodded. "Because we don't do things instead of them. We just help them keep going." They stopped by the fountain at the edge of the square. The water flowed evenly, trees cast shadows, and the city felt arranged in its own quiet way. Billy looked at Ava. "I don't think this is the last time we'll do something together." "Definitely not," she replied. And both of them knew that after this day, they would never look at the city the same way again. After the square, the streets grew quieter. The shops were closed, and the windows reflected the light differently, as if the city were preparing for evening. Billy walked with his hands in his pockets, while Ava rolled a small stone between her fingers. "Do you feel it?" she asked. Yes, he replied. It's like the city is watching us. Ava stopped in front of an old apartment building. By the entrance stood a woman with a stroller, and next to her a boy, pulling on the rope of a rusty elevator. It's not working again, the woman said tiredly. They promised to fix it last week, the boy added. Billy bent down and examined the door. It's not broken. Something's just holding it. Ava moved closer to the shaft. The cables shifted. Can we? Billy asked. Yes, but carefully, she answered. He lifted the door slightly, just enough to make space. Ava focused inward. The cable slid back into place, the metal creaked, and the elevator stopped swaying. Try now, Billy said. The boy pulled the rope. The door opened smoothly. It works, the boy shouted. Finally! The woman sighed and looked at them gratefully. Only temporarily, Ava said. It needs a proper repair. But you saved us a lot of stairs, the woman replied. As they walked away, Billy laughed softly. More and more people. And more responsibility, Ava said. They reached the end of the street where the light was dimmer. Somewhere ahead came voices, different from before, tense and hurried. Ava stopped. There's something more serious over there. Billy straightened. Then let's not waste time. Together they headed in that direction without looking back. The voices led them to a small square between buildings. Several adults were arguing around a stopped truck loaded with planks and boxes. One wheel was stuck in a hole, and the truck leaned dangerously. If we push it any more, it'll tip, said a man in a hat. We can't leave it like this. It's blocking everyone, another replied. Billy looked at Ava. This won't work with pushing alone. Ava nodded. We need to lift it, not move it. They stepped closer. One of the men noticed them. Hey, kids, stay back. We'll help, Billy said calmly. The men exchanged glances, but there was no time to argue. The truck creaked as its weight shifted again. Ava placed her hands near the fender. When I say. Billy stood on the other side. I'm ready. Now. The metal gave a dull sound. The wheel came free of the hole and the truck straightened. One of the boxes tilted, but Billy held it, suspended, and guided it back into place. Silence followed. How did you do that? Someone asked. Ava smiled. With cooperation. When the square finally calmed, Billy felt something different. Not noise, not movement, more like the sense that someone was watching them. He turned. Ava. She was already looking toward the roof of a nearby building. We're not alone. A figure stood at the edge, almost motionless. It didn't wave or speak. It just watched. Someone like us, Billy whispered. Or someone who wants to know what we can do, Ava replied. The figure stepped back and vanished behind the chimney. Billy clenched his fists. I don't like this. Neither do I, Ava said, but we won't hide. They left the square, knowing that the next meeting would not be accidental. The path led them into the older part of the city, where the streets were narrower and the houses lower, standing close to one another. The noise of the centre faded here, but the feeling of being watched did not. He wasn't random, Billy said. The way he stood. He was observing, Ava finished, and waiting. They stopped at a small square with a fountain. Water dripped steadily, and there was no one else around. Billy turned slowly, as if expecting someone to step out of the shadows. If he wants to find us, he will. That's why it's better if we're ready, Ava said. At that moment, a boy appeared from one of the side streets, a little older than them. He walked calmly without looking around, as if this exact place had been his destination all along. You're the two, he said, without asking. Billy stepped forward. And who are you? Someone who notices things, the boy replied. The truck, the boxes. No one else could have done that. Ava studied him carefully. You were following us? Yes, he said. to be sure." A brief silence fell. "Sure of what?" Billy asked. "That you're not like the others," the boy said, "and that you won't use what you can do for the wrong reasons." "And you?" Ava asked. "What can you do?" The boy smiled faintly. "I show paths. Sometimes I see where things are leading before they happen." Billy felt a chill run down his back. "So you know what comes next?" "I know this is the beginning," the boy said, "and that there will be a moment when you'll have to decide whether to stay alone or become more." He took a step back. "When that moment comes, you'll find me." And without waiting for an answer, he disappeared down the same street he had come from. Ava exhaled. "There are more of us," Billy nodded, "and more choices, too." They stayed in the square for another moment, not in a hurry to leave. The stranger's words still echoed between them.